morning and welcome to Love Every Moment, coming to you today from Lubbock, Texas. Today's verse is 1 John 2:15. Do not love the world, nor the things in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. Well, starting with that word world, that word is basically cosmos, and it's used quite a bit in Scripture. And I want to make sure that we got two things straight before we even start here. When it says do not love the world, it doesn't mean do not love the people of the world. We are definitely to love the people of the world, including non-Christians. So worldly people, we are to love them, and there should be no debate about that. It also says here, do not love the world nor the things in the world. Now that includes God's creation. Now, we are not to hate God's creation, and we are certainly supposed to take care of God's creation as a steward. But if we love his creation above God, the Creator himself, that's a problem. So that's the first thing. But most people would agree that when it says, do not love the world, it's talking about the world system, the philosophies of the world, the way the world considers doing things. So let's look at a couple of scriptures that back that up. Colossians 2:8 says, see to it that no one takes you captive through philosophy and empty deception, according to the tradition of men, according to the elementary principles of the world, there's that word, rather than according to Christ. Let's look at another one. James 4:4, but let's start at verse 2. You lust and do not have, so you commit murder. You are envious and cannot obtain, so you fight and quarrel. You do not have because you do not ask. You ask and you do not receive because you ask with wrong motives, so that you may spend it on your pleasures. You adulteresses, do you not know that friendship with the world, there's the word, is hostility towards God? Therefore, whoever wishes to be a friend of the world makes himself an enemy of God. So you could see that it's things like lust and committing murder and envy and fighting and quarreling and asking with the wrong motives and such. That's the way of the world. So those are the things that we need to look out for. Now, back to our main verse. There's a lot of this that's creeping into the church, and this is going to be hurtful if this happens to affect certain people. So I don't intend to hurt. I intend to bring us back to God and correct fellowship with him. But think about this. In the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus clearly says that it is good for us to be humble and meek. Yet humbleness and meekness is really not valued by today's church, as we'd rather see people who are arrogant and full of themselves as long as they're strong. So we tend to gravitate towards Christians who will rather out-argue people rather than listen to them, or politicians who are going to out-argue and be basically a dirty Harry rather than someone who's humble, or political commentators on television. Those are the people we tend to gravitate towards instead of people who are humble and meek as Jesus was. How about this one? The Bible clearly tells us that we are to submit ourselves to government authorities and to honor the king. Sometimes I'm not seeing us submitting, such as in the whole mask thing, and sometimes I'm not seeing us honor the king if the king, our president, is of the wrong political party, whether that's Republican or Democrat. We're supposed to honor that person, and yet I see the church putting up some really awful things on social media. Let's bring this to a conclusion. John 17:14, Jesus says to his disciples before the Last Supper, I have given them your word, and the world has hated them because they are not of the world, even as I am not of the world. When we love Jesus, the world might hate us, and the things that I've mentioned might be really offensive to them. But if we choose to love every moment, we're going to love every moment. I'm your average wretch, and I hope you have a great week.